So there were a few questions about this LD50 worksheet. So I thought I would take an opportunity and walk you through some of the problems that we have for this one and to show you where some of the numbers actually came from. This page looks at the LD50 and it's regarding caffeine and coffee. So it tells you to reference a particular article. Don't worry about that. But what you're supposed to do first is you're supposed to predict how many cups of coffee you think would be considered your LD50 for the size that you are. So we talked in class about what the averages are, so you can think about are you smaller or larger than the average? And this is a worldwide average. Which is sometimes smaller than what the average American is. Now, once you have that particular average, we're going to go ahead and calculate it. Now, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to change your weight to kilograms. How you do that, you're going to take however many pounds you are. This is, of course, assuming you don't know how many kilograms you are. I wouldn't know that off the top of my head. And you're going to say that 1 pound is 0.45 kilograms. And it gave us that conversion right there. And so they can say equal, just multiply those numbers. So you'll take the number of pounds that you are times 0.45, and that will tell you how many kilograms your body is. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to see, based on that size, what is the LD50 for caffeine for you? Now, let's see here. On the Moodle page, I gave you a little hint. I told you that the LD50 for caffeine was 0.13 grams per kilogram of body weight. Now, this problem actually wants us to change this to milligrams. So this is actually going to be 130 milligrams per kilogram. Remember that milligrams per kilograms actually means parts per million. So I don't remember if I showed you the Becker bottle or not, but that's what a part per million is. So there we have our milligrams per kilogram. All right, so now how we actually do the problem is you're going to take however many kilograms you found in the last slide. You're going to say 1 kilogram. You can have 130 milligrams of caffeine. And this is going to tell you how many milligrams you can have before you reach that LD50. Now, the last thing we're going to do is we're going to convert this to cups of coffee. So you're going to say there's so many milligrams of caffeine. And then in the problem, you're told that there's 90 milligrams of caffeine in 1 cup. And that will be the number of cups of caffeine you can, the cups of coffee to reach the LD50 for your of caffeine. Yeah, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. Now, there's 3 other questions on this page. They're going to talk about what that LD50 actually means. So make sure that you have a good understanding of it. Yeah, so if you have any questions over that part, feel free to let me know. Now, I do have a little bit on the next page of the worksheet also. So the last page has this graph on it. What this graph is looking at is looking at the lethal dose of awful TV shows. Now, I don't know. This is how you would actually figure out what the LD50 is for different shows. I know this is totally made up. You are not going to have an LD50 for just watching TV shows. But I thought it was, I don't know, kind of an interesting worksheet. So down here on the bottom, we have the number of shows watched, and on the y-axis, we have the death rate percent. So the LD50 is if you were to go to 50%, go all the way across, sorry, this is totally not a straight line, that's going to be your LD50. So if it's below that, you haven't reached the LD50 yet, and if it's above it, you actually have a higher percent. Now, just as a reminder, what that LD50 means, that's the lethal dose of 50% of a large population, or you can think of it as the amount that gives you a 50% chance of dying. So one of those 2 ways. On the bottom, it goes through some different questions. It's going to ask if you watch a certain number of a certain particular TV show, What does that mean? So let's do an example. Let's pick Jersey Shore because it happens to be on the bottom. If I watch 7 episodes of Jersey Shore, I'm sitting right at 30%. So that's a death rate 30%, meaning that after watching 7 shows, 30% of the population has died, or that 70% is still alive because we haven't reached that LD50 yet, or that you would have a 30% chance of dying if you sat and watched 7 shows, 7 episodes of Jersey Shore. Again, just kind of a silly example for you. So hopefully that clears up this chart also. Again, if you have any questions, just let me know.